Welcome to day 3 of your onboarding phase. Now, remember, in this first week, really all you have to worry about is getting everything prepared so that you're ready to launch into the 7 weeks of this quest with no guesswork and complete confidence. Now, what you're going to learn over the next 5 days is the minimum effective dose and the concepts and the equipment that you'll need to optimize some of the important variables in this quest for your beauty and for your longevity. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to learn about important concepts like your strength to muscle mass ratio, your mitochondrial density, your stamina, your cardiovascular endurance, a concept called your anaerobic capacity, your mobility, your ability to be able to move with grace and function properly, and even your recovery, how quickly you can bounce back from each of these routines that you're going to learn. So the next 5 days are going to be exciting, you're going to learn a lot, and I hope you're ready to join me. So let's get started with day 3. So let's define strength and muscle mass, and specifically what I call your strength to muscle mass ratio. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. First of all, as you can imagine, your strength, and even more specifically your muscle mass, is very much related to how your body looks, but it's surprisingly related to your longevity as well. Now, for example, there's a book called The Perfect Health Diet in which a friend of mine, who also happens to be an astrophysicist, a very smart guy named Paul Jaminet, he delves into this study on guinea pigs and muscle fibers in guinea pigs. And one of the things that they discovered was that it wasn't really how much muscle mass, how much bulk that these guinea pigs had in this study. It was instead how capable that muscle was of being functional, of being what we would call an explosive, fast twitch muscle fiber. Now, think about it this way. If you've ever seen a bodybuilder, and trust me, I used to be a bodybuilder, so I understand this concept quite well myself. They have very large amounts of bulk, large amounts of muscle. They walk around like this, but unfortunately, that muscle actually takes a great deal of energy to carry and a great deal of energy to cool. I even remember the first triathlon I did coming out of my bodybuilding days. I was sore, my muscles were bouncing up and down. I didn't feel functional at all. I felt like a giant slab of muscle who could barely move and function the right way. Well, that's because having that high amount of muscle mass didn't necessarily mean that I was strong or that I was functional or that I had these kind of short, wiry, explosive muscle fibers we see in a study like that of the guinea pig study, where the guinea pigs that had the small, wiry, explosive muscle were actually living for a long period of time. Now, there's another sport that exists called powerlifting, and in stark contrast to bodybuilding, powerlifters have this muscle that's incredibly functional and incredibly explosive, but they're not very bulky. You'd often see a powerlifter walking down the street and you really wouldn't guess that they can, for example, hoist 300 pounds over their head and rip 600 pounds off the ground. But the idea is that when it comes to what's called your strength to muscle mass ratio, in an ideal scenario for both beauty and for longevity, you have large amounts of strength without necessarily having a bunch of this old school bodybuilder-esque bulk and huge amounts of mass. You want enough mass to where you have toned and lean and functional muscle that confers beauty, but not so much mass that you're stripping away your longevity. So that's the idea behind the ideal strength to muscle mass ratio. So how is it exactly that you're going to achieve the ideal strength to muscle mass ratio that's going to give you the ultimate combination of beauty and longevity? Well, if you recall what I was saying about the explosive, wiry muscle fibers that we tend to see confer a large degree of longevity, the best way to get that is to actually lift, as you probably would guess, in an explosive manner. Now, to avoid injury And to be able to exercise for life without having to necessarily back off and quit because you've sprained or strained a muscle, it's important to understand that any type of explosive, powerful lifting should ideally be done with a relatively low amount of weight that you're simply lifting very, very quickly. Now, for that, I like what I call the ultimate efficient body weight workout. Now, all you're going to be doing is working out against your own body weight, but you're going to be moving very quickly and very explosively as you do so. So you're getting that explosive, wiry muscle that confers longevity. Now, if you're doing these explosive workouts and you're doing them with a light weight, you're going to miss out on another important component of beauty and longevity, and that would be your actual strength, your ability to be able to move heavy stuff. Because of that, a second component of the strength training part of this quest is going to be super slow training. So rather than, again, increasing risk of injury by taking a very heavy weight and moving it quickly, when we work with heavy weights during this quest, we're going to do so in a very slow and controlled format. One of my friends, Dr. Doug McGuff, wrote a great book called Body by Science. And Doug works with folks from all walks of life, but one of the things that he does when he works with them is he figures a way to get them stronger and to enhance things like their blood pressure and their functional muscle and their strength without actually increasing the risk of injury. Because his goal with many of his patients and clients is to allow them to be able to exercise for life without necessarily getting hurt by, for example, throwing an extremely heavy barbell around and straining a shoulder. So instead, what you do when you do super slow lifting is you lift for a very, very slow pace up and a very, very slow pace down. So you're controlling the weight, you're reducing risk of injury, but you're building massive amounts of strength as you do so, in stark contrast to the explosive light lifting that you'd get during the ultimate bodyweight workout. Now, you've got your ultimate bodyweight workout, explosive and light. You have your super slow routine, heavy but controlled. And then finally, as a body weight alternative to the super slow training, and as a way to get a little bit of both, you also have this concept of isometrics. Isometric simply refers to getting into a specific position, like the bottom of a push-up, or the sitting position of a squat, and holding it for as long a period of time without actually moving your joint through a range of motion. Now, when you hold a certain movement for an extended period of time, you get a lot of lactic acid, you get a lot of burn that builds up. And the cool thing about that is that as a response to that, we see improvements in blood pressure, we see an increase in growth hormone, we see an increase in strength, and a host of other parameters that allow you to develop fitness that confers beauty and longevity with, again, a decreased risk of injury. So the big picture here is that each of these different practices you're doing for the ideal strength to muscle mass ratio are done so not just in the light of your performance, but also your health and your longevity, the overall sustainability of this program so that you can get strong and have the ideal strength to muscle mass ratio without increasing your risk of injury. Because, again, this quest is something you want to be able to do for the rest of your life. So here's your assignment for today. You need to hunt down a gym or a health club or an exercise facility that's going to allow you to tap into some of the resources that you'll see here in this particular assignment for today. Now, you don't have to go and buy a membership per se, as many of the activities in this quest can actually be done in the comfort of your own home or in a park or a basement or a backyard. But you'll at least want to explore what you have available to you in terms of a gym or a health club or an exercise facility with either a simple day pass or, if you prefer and it helps to motivate you, an actual membership. Now, you'll want to look for a few specific things wherever you go, and I'll list them also in the assignment right here so you can read over these in detail. But ideally, you'll have access to a pool, Ideally, you'll have access to a sauna. And in addition to that, for actual equipment, there are what I call the big 5 exercises that you'll be doing during your super slow training, and they'll be listed here in the assignment. You'll want to look for machines that allow you to engage in each of those big 5 exercises. And then finally, you'll want kettlebells and preferably some free weights such as dumbbells or a barbell. And then you'll want some form of cardio that allows you to work your full body. I'm a fan of an assault bicycle. The elliptical trainer with the arms is also a good one. A rowing machine is excellent. And a treadmill is of course also preferred. So that's your assignment today, is to hunt down the gym, the health club, or the exercise facility that enables you to embark upon this portion of the quest and to get yourself some kind of a day pass or a membership to that facility.